Welcome to the Comedy Here Often podcast. I'm your host, Kevvy. This week on the show is stand-up comedian Steev Letts talking about his new album, Burger Queen, that has just come out. Welcome to the Comedy Here Often podcast. This episode is brought to you by Coca-Cola Energy Drink. They don't know that, and they've never heard of this podcast, but we are all drinking them.
Cheers.
That was thoughtful of you to not rub the lick.
I turned the lick side away. You're welcome.
You don't have to do that with me. I'm very comfortable with you. What do you got, Alexi?
Okay, let's see if I can do it, because Miriam just showed me it, and I haven't actually executed it yet.
Okay.
She's going to bite into it like Teen Wolf.
Just like shotgun it.
Yeah.
With my tooth.
Yeah.
Like the good old days.
Mm-hmm.
I had a buddy that would open beer bottles on his molars.
Ooh.
Yeah, gross.
I didn't know you hung out with bikers. Seems like a biker thing.
Actually, that guy is dead now, if I think about it.
I didn't know you hung out with bikers.
Woo, won't say his name.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
His name was Bobby Warner, because he's dead to me.
He's dead to me.
I'm still mad. Okay, Alexi, what do you got?
Okay.
Hey!
This is
That
brought
was
to you by
adorable.
Miriam.
Thank you,
So
Miriam.
satisfying. Nice work, Miriam.
Something she brought with her from, where's she from again? Sweden?
Norway.
She has no accent.
Have you gotten drunk with her yet?
No.
Norwegians, I mean, of course it's a generalization, but they can fucking drink.
I believe it.
I worked in Epcot Center at Disney World for a while, years and years ago.
This
Oh my
is
God.
perfect because we talk about worst day job stories, so go on.
Oh, this is not my worst day job, but it was a fucked up one. But I worked in the Canadian Pavilion at Epcot Center.
Yeah.
And so in Epcot Center, they have all of these like pavilions that represent certain countries, and they hire people from those countries to work in their pavilions. And all of them have drinking teams that compete against each other in their private time. So like one week the Canadian boys will be drinking against the Italian boys, and then the next week it's the English or the UK girls or whatever. And every nation likes to think that, like, we're the biggest drinkers. We're the, unshakable ones. Nobody is fucking with Germany or Norway or the UK ever. Like, don't even bother. The Norwegian team, the men's team is called Snickaboo, which is a word that loosely translates to mean, like, tool shed or, like, man cave, I guess.
Snickaboo?
Snickaboo. The girls were Flickaboo.
Okay.
And then the men's team had T-shirts they weren't allowed to wash during the entire year, so they'd be covered in vomit and blood and written all over in Sharpie. They're animals. At any rate,
Oh my God.
Get drunk with Miriam is what I mean to say.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
Miriam.
Well, she kind of came out and drank with us at JFL.
Oh, that's true.
Sort of, but then she
Yeah.
left early.
She seemed unaffected
Yeah.
and never complains about anything, so
Yes.
I can only assume.
Maybe it's cocaine. Maybe she's Norwegian. Who knows? Who knows?
Did people on cocaine not complain about anything? I guess I can't feel anything. So what would they complain about?
It's really fucking hot in here, man.
That's it, the temperature?
Yeah,
That is a very cocaine-y thing to be adjusting thermostat all night long.
totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You guys think
It's hot in here? That's how I'm going to
Yeah,
be
a lot of
after
parties
this.
in the early aughts. You could find me in front of an air conditioner. Where's Steve? We know where Steve is.
Did you ever, speaking of day jobs, did you ever have to do one whilst hungover from cocaine?
Oh God, yes, absolutely. I went to jobs still high on ecstasy.
I knew this was going to be a good
my
question.
God.
Yeah, I mean, I used to wash dishes at the Keg in Victoria.
Yeah.
And I mean, anyone who works in the restaurant industry, there's a lot of partying involved. You're on a different schedule than everyone else.
Yeah.
So you become this sad alcoholic sort of vampire. And I remember one New Year's Eve, I ate like 6 caps of ecstasy at midnight.
Oh
'Cause
my God.
I was bar backing. I'm like, we'll be out of here in no time. And then
Yeah.
an hour passed, and then people kept drinking, and I was in the cooler just like, oh man, I'm fucked up.
Oh my God.
But nobody noticed. Everyone was messed up because it was New Year, so it didn't matter.
When you
Luckily, those-
can't go home in a situation like that, that's awful.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and it's easy to like laugh about now. I don't party or do drugs anymore now, so it's fine. I can look back and be like, oh, it's cool that I didn't die, but really, it was all really, really stupid. Not cool at all.
You were just trying to get your shift over with. I get it.
Oh yeah. Oh, and also, I mean, I was dishwashing / bar back at the time, so like I would be working in the dish pit. It's like 1,000 degrees because you're just spraying hot water all the time, and then the bartender, excuse me, would come around the back from the bar into the dish pit to break wind.
Oh,
So it's not enough that like I've
be
got
like, "Hey,
bits of
Lex."
crab shell and fucking steak under my nails and
Oh,
shit.
God,
and this guy
yeah.
would just come around and just rip ass like I wasn't a human being.
Oh,
He's dead too. I'm just kidding. I don't know where he is. Shout out Trevor. I hope you're
shout
okay.
out Trevor, you stinky
gassy
motherfucker. You still know Trevor?
I haven't heard from him in a long time. I actually hope he's okay. He was
Okay.
He's a nice guy.
Okay. All right.
Nice guy.
Did he think you were into his farting or something?
Well, you know what? In a way, it was kind of like there's certain stuff that's gross, but it was nice to be like considered one of the boys. And
Yeah.
I know that's so stupid,
Yeah.
but I remember like the first time playing on a keg softball team as like and this was like, I'm like 20 years old, so I'm pretty freshly out of the closet and unsure about all of this stuff. And so like having guys slap me on the ass or whatever as like a good job, I was like, oh, they see me as one of them. So not that like farting in my area is the same thing, but there's certain stuff that you're like, it's gross, but at least they see me as one of the boys.
That's a rite of passage, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think women do that as much, do they?
I don't know.
Some of Alexi's friends, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Were you on the episode with her where she talked about that pool situation?
Pool situation. Was this Randy's?
Yes.
The TMI corner thing sort of overtook our whole episode.
Yeah,
So
that's
what
true.
was the pool thing though?
It was the girl that tried to frame me for...
Yes.
She doo-dooed in the goddamn pool.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like, and on the side, and
Yeah.
then tried to, I guess, bring me into the pool to, like, frame me for her
Yeah.
misgivings.
I hope
don't-
she's dead.
It won't be long.
Me too.
It won't be long.
Do you know where she is? Have you kept tabs on this person?
No, I don't even really remember her name, but I know that night before all of this happened, we added each other on Snapchat. And you know how you can... do you have Snapchat?
No, Snapchat's kind of the marker for like I feel like people of my generation, Snapchat was the first thing that were like, I don't want to do this, I don't get this, I'm not doing this.
No,
Yeah,
that's fair,
yeah.
That's fair. I was kind of like that too, but I have it anyways. And you can like pick an icon, and like it can be you as like a little cartoon.
Okay.
You can add different things, and she has devil horns. I was like, it's a sign. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's people with devil horns shit themselves in the pool and frame other people
Absolutely.
for it. You know?
Devil horn people are always doo-doo framers. Always.
Doo-doo framer, man. I wonder if she's ever going to hear this.
yeah.
I hope so.
wonder.
Wherever you are, you stupid bitch.
Yeah. What the hell? I told my friends too that I had talked about it on like actually multiple podcasts. I told
Yeah.
this story, and they already knew about it, so they went and listened.
I love
Like,
that.
oh my god.
Love that. Well, she should know better.
Yeah.
Try to frame you.
Yeah. What the hell?
That's crazy. I like how she was so bossy with you. Like, she was nice, and then she's like, hey, person I just met, take your clothes off and get in the pool with me.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, and you're so nice. You're like, okay.
Well, I just like I was taken aback really, because I'm like, what do you like? What? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that it was okay. It was really weird.
It's funny when you meet a person who doesn't mind being awful, and they order you around, and you're like, I guess I better do what they say, because they seem to really know what's going on. Like, you almost get hypnotized by it.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, when it's, arrogance can be very persuasive.
Yeah.
It's strange. Yeah, and it's sad too, because you always think this is why assholes fail upward.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
true.
Yeah.
It really is true.
I think the lesson is we should all just be horrible to each other.
Well, I think so too. It's so funny because these friends of mine, these filmmakers, we were talking about Harvey Weinstein, and they're like, yeah, see, karma got him. I'm like, yeah, it took 25 years of him getting away with everything.
And considering all of the things that he did, I don't think that this is really like karma. I actually just binged She Said, the Jodi Cantor, Megan Twohey book that's like sort of chronicles the process of that article and the whole takedown.
Yep.
Because I've been sick for the last few days, so it's just been audiobook and Netflix City. And yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
The amount of horrible things that he's done for so long. It's the bare minimum what he's getting now.
It really makes me feel like karma isn't real. It's like people can be just horrible and just be so successful.
Well, I think like I'm going to sound really like lame here for a
hit me,
second,
Steve.
but just bear with. I think like people think of karma as like a quantifiable justice kind of thing, when really it's like I think it's all a lot more like complicated and strange.
Yeah,
and it's not just a matter of karma is not an eye for an eye.
Yeah,
right?
No.
for sure it isn't. And also like I will feel so guilty about a conversation where I felt I was slightly backhand complimenting someone, and I'll beat myself up about it for weeks. Those people will do something directly horrible and feel nothing about it ever.
Yeah.
I am so self-conscious and so anxious that I worry about being a sociopath. And then I'm like, you feel guilty for stuff that's not your fault. That's the antithesis of being a sociopath.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Can you imagine just never feeling guilt for anything?
Be great.
Because people ask me, they're like, man, how does your mom look so good for her age? I'm like, she's never felt guilt in her life. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's a sociopath.
That was a slogan for Pantene Pro V, I think. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's a sociopath. Do you have any other day job stories that you can remember?
Oh, my first ever day job, it's actually sort of a humble brag. My first day job was in a record store. Because I did my work experience through like career planning, or CAPS it was called when I was in high school.
Several HMVs growing up.
Oh, okay. I was A&B Sound.
Oh, yeah.
So it was, and that was the best job I ever had. It was shit paying. It was a minimum wage job.
Yeah.
But we also had a contract with ICBC, like the insurance corporation, so that when people who had good insurance, because back then everyone had like a 400 CD wallet in their car. So if you had good insurance and your car got robbed, they would replace all of your CDs.
Right.
What?
Yeah,
So people would come in and they'd be like, I've got 400 credits. I like A, B, and C. What should I listen to?
Oh, yeah.
And so you would get to curate someone's record collection.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so it was also cool because it got kind of competitive in certain parts. Like there were certain people who, if a customer comes in and they have a question about EDM, you go to Cheryl. If they, you know what I mean? This. So I started out as kind of hip hop guy, I guess, because nobody else knew anything about it. And then after a while, it was like, I mean, most stuff came to me if people couldn't solve it, aside from like jazz or classical, anything specified like that. And someone would come in and they'd be like, "Do you know that song? It's like," and you'd have to figure it out from there. That was the most satisfying shit I've ever done at work.
What the thing you just hummed sounded like that De La Soul song. It's a sample of, I forget, some
3 Feet High. No, that's the album.
Oh,
that's
from that record though.
Me, Myself, and I.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the one.
See that?
See, that's it.
He's good.
You're in the right field.
Yeah, because one guy came in. He was this giant, fucking like newly immigrated African dude.
Yep.
Big and intimidating as fuck. And he came in. He's like, "What's this song?" It's like, "Hey, now you're an all-star." And everyone's like, "It's no." Everyone's like, "It's Smash Mouth." He's like, "It's not Smash Mouth." Like everyone kept showing him the song, but it was Noriega Capone, like Noriega the rapper song, where he like does the line from Smash Mouth at one tiny part of the verse, and I figured it out, and I was better than everyone forever.
That you still are. That's phenomenal.
But I mean, that's a good job story. After that, I had to work at the Toyota dealership in Duncan, BC, as a car detailer. So I was basically like scrubbing mosquito carcasses out of the grills of Forerunners for 8 hours a day.
Oh my
That's
God.
not as fun of a
But there
job.
was one hot mechanic.
Okay.
So like I actually had to work with I would drive up and home for an hour with my mom's then boyfriend, who was this nerdy motherfucker who looked like Harry Shearer as the bassist from Spinal Tap.
Wow.
Yeah, drove this little Porsche, and so I would have to sit in silence with him for 2 hours every day. But it kept me in cigarette money, and he always bought me McDonald's for lunch. And the one hot mechanic, my like favorite part of the day every day, I would like pretend to casually smoke so he wouldn't tell that I was watching him put his coveralls on.
Oh, yeah.
Complex eroticism when you're like 18 years old watching an old guy slither into his coveralls.
Wait a second. Shout out to your Spinal Tap reference. That was good.
Hey.
And shout out to Noriega for quoting Smash Mouth in a song. That is brave. That is bold.
He's super thug. No one's going to tell him he's not hot.
Absolutely. I like that he now has his own radio show where he gets obliterated.
Does he?
Yeah.
That.
He had Puff Daddy on and they got fucked up together, and it's one of the more homoerotic things I've ever seen. It's
just
great.
Just like a drunken bro love.
Yeah, well, Puff Daddy kept being like, "Hey man, how come?" Like he felt slighted that he wasn't invited to more things that they were doing. It was kind of weird, and then someone made a
Puff felt slighted.
Yeah.
Or I still call him Puff because I'm old.
Absolutely. Diddy Combs. And then there's a super cut of all the more desperate moments from that interview that you can watch. It's like a minute long. It's hilarious.
Oh my God.
Weird.
I'll send it to you.
It's weird how someone like so incredibly successful can like you always feel pathetic for like worrying about how you're perceived and all that stuff, and then like someone who's like a fucking gazillionaire who's like
he began and runs an empire, and he's still insecure. It never ends.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. I know a few people who are the very top of the heap in their field, still sad.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Yeah.
I guess you better work on yourself.
In a way, you feel guilty for being comforted by that, but it is comforting. It's nice to know that, like, it's not just you, bud. We all feel like shit.
Yeah. But still, shout out to Noriega for quoting Smash Mouth. Also, he went on Hot Ones, that Hot Wing show, and he got so drunk and so sick doing it. It's a great episode. And then the other, you know, the Hot Ones, right?
Yeah, the Hot Wing. Yeah.
So they have this thing called the Last Dab, and it's the hottest hot sauce, and you like coat it in that. It's called, you know what I mean? And then you cheers wings, and then you eat it. Coolio was like, man, fuck y'all, and he coated the wing in the hottest hot sauce, started eating it, and called an ambulance. Yeah.
But that was a not so fantastic voyage. I'm sorry.
No, you worked at A&B Sound. You get to say stuff like that. I'll tell you, I think I've said it before on here, but it's funny. I don't know if you were like me, but it was very high fidelity for me when I worked at record stores. And I became Jack Black, the pretentious asshole clerk. And the meanest thing I ever said, this woman came in. She was obviously buying CDs for her kids. And she's like, do you have Evanescence? And I was talking to someone else. I was like, oh, cool. You mixed up two shitty artists. I just gave her the Evanescence CD. I was like, so anyway.
Oh my God.
I remember having someone come in. It was one of those insurance claims thing, and she goes, "Well, I know." Or no. Anyways, this woman came in and she's like, "I love Dave Matthews Band and Coldplay. What should I listen to?" And I just went,
yeah,
and then politely helped her find stuff because I can't be a dick for too long.
Yeah, it's tough because you were at the pinnacle of your pretentiousness as a 19-year-old whatever, because music's so important to you.
Yeah.
So when you feel like someone isn't respecting your passion,
totally,
and they're in your way now and trying to talk with you about it, and they don't know anything, it's very insulting.
How dare they?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that was one of my better jobs. But I also remember like Boxing Day sucked so bad at that job.
Yeah, at A&B Sound, it was still like when I started there, it was still a huge big deal where like people were lined up at 6 a.m. for the sale starting kind of thing.
Yeah, and there'd be fights and they'd be trampling each other on the way in and stuff.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
God.
Yeah. Congratulations on your album release.
Thank you for your assistance making the album, Kevvy.
Of course. I wanted to talk about the recording of it.
Yeah.
You were kind of added late to the bill on that Yuck Yucks show. Mm-hmm. It was Pride weekend, and I think Sonny Dollywall was supposed to headline.
Yeah. Sonny Dollywall, who's a fucking prince.
Oh, he's
absolutely
amazing.
Hilarious dude.
And he's one of the best hosts there is.
He's one of the nicest MCs in the game, for sure. Sonny Dollywall and James Kennedy are always like the fucking most solid hosts. But he was really nice about it. I reached out to him and asked if he would let me headline because it was Pride weekend and we needed a time to get it recorded, and I wanted to do it at Yucks. Mm-hmm. And Sonny was like, I don't mind if you do more time than me, but why don't we just like bill it as a co-feature so I don't get paid less? And I'm like, of course, I don't want to take any money, right? I don't want to negatively affect Sonny's bag. So so we ended up making it a co-feature, and Sonny and I, and who else was on the fucking show? Do you remember?
It was
McGowan?
I can't remember. It was somebody else hosting that I was surprised was booked for Pride weekend.
Right, but at any rate, it was a fun show. We did 2 shows over Pride weekend, and the first night, a bunch of my friends came out, and like when we were like editing the album, we had to like sort of tone them down a bit because they were being really good friends to me and really laughing really hard at everything.
It was lovely.
And then the second night was a little bit stiffer but still good, and the whole thing was just fun. It was a blur. But I was lucky because the month leading up to recording the album, I got asked to do a bunch of Pride shows in small towns around BC, so like Courtney Comox and Nanaimo and Abbots or Kelowna, fucking Kamloops.
Yeah.
And so and then Kelowna. So we I got to rehearse the material in a full hour set a bunch of times and felt pretty good to go.
It was so tight, and it's so crazy because just from doing different people's albums, I'll notice after they record the album, they had to like bring it so hard that they're a much better comedian because of it.
I hope so. Yeah, I think so for sure.
I've noticed that with you. Like when I saw at Yuck Yucks the East versus West compilation show, that was when I saw you do some new stuff, and it's like, man, you're so good.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks. I've been working hard because it was knowing that the material was going to come out. I had hoped that maybe this album would turn into bookings for shows this coming summer, and so I was like, I can't do all the same shit that's on the album. I want to have at least 30 minutes of new stuff. Good to go. I'm not quite there yet, but working on it.
But you have a lot of new stuff, and a lot of comedians wait a long time after the album release to start writing again.
And I understand the fatigue, but
for sure.
But I think a lot of the fatigue comes from doing the same material so much that it was like, if I don't start churning out new shit, I'm just gonna stop performing or perform less, and that's not what I want to do.
Did you find it inspiring knowing that you were gonna let go of all that stuff?
Yes. I mean, I was ready to, because there's stuff on my album that I'd been sort of performing for close to 4 years.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
a lot of that shit I was ready to go, but also it's tough when your early stuff still feels stronger. You know what I mean? It's really like it's hard to let go of the crutch for sure. But I was eager to do so.
Yeah. I also like you started with Yumi at the same time, I think, right?
Yep.
And she came to your taping, and that was another thing we had to edit around was
I love her laugh
the most
so
distinct
Yeah.
laugh there is. And then she was also on a like Stewart's album and a couple other ones. It's like she just came to everything for a while.
much. Gotta love her.
Love that.
I love how supportive she is.
Yeah, she's great. She's never been anything but a fan and a friend, and the same for me. I think she's the best.
Yeah, she's incredible. Burger Queen.
Burger Queen,
And then
baby.
you all did the photo shoot together.
Yes, I told Lexi and Steve City, who works on the CHO team, that I wanted it to be aesthetically somewhere between Terry Richardson and David LaChapelle.
Yeah.
So like a sort of a like porny basement portrait, but make it like high candy gloss. You know?
Yeah.
So-
I'd say you achieved it.
Yeah, so the cover, which is of course shot on the counter at the Save on Meats Deli, just
So
up
good.
East Hastings there, and it was funny because like my ideas for outfits, I was sending Lauren. I was like, I want to be in a burger costume, but with stripper heels, and she was like, I think the burger costume might look cheap. I was like, I got this. We're gonna do this. And then the day of, she was like, okay, this is good. And so. I was also like, it was hilarious to me that the staff at Save on Meats are so unfazed because they like, I mean, first of all, the neighborhood they live in, they operate in, I guess, but also like they host drag shows there. Late Night Snack is a drag show they do as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, as I was getting dressed and like slipping on these 6-inch black fucking stripper Mary Janes in a burger costume, I was like, these people are going to freak out. And they didn't bat an eyelash. They didn't give a shit.
Oh yeah, they had like a whole staff meeting while we were doing the shoot.
Yeah, they
Didn't
legit
even care.
did. Like at a table in the front, didn't even look at me. I was like, at the end, I was like, hello.
Yeah. You're offended now?
Almost like insulted a little bit, just
A little bit, yeah. But
I'm dressed like a burger. What am I, chopped liver?
Right?
Yep.
I love the way that it turned out, though. You did a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Alexi's done so many of the shoots now.
Oh, speaking of which, I was telling you before we started recording that I thought I had coronavirus.
Yeah.
I've been really sick for the last few days, which means I'm down 5 pounds. So we need to shoot my headshots this
Yes,
week. Thank
yes.
you. Yeah,
I was
just a
gonna
quick
say.
reminder, we'll schedule that after this.
Man.
While I've sweated out my face bloat, I would like to take some photographs.
You look great. You look beautiful.
You too.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so crazy. There's an artist on the label who I'm producing her album, and she and her mom had booked a cruise 2 years ago for this week.
Oh no.
And they just had it canceled.
Yeah.
My mom just canceled her trip to Florida as well.
Yeah.
But she was like going to Clearwater to hang with people even older than she is. So she was like, it's not even. But yeah, I feel a little bit bad. There's a lot of people having to cancel their plans, but it's not worth the stress, man.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. What was it like feeling like convincing yourself that you had it?
Okay, first of all, let me just state, I am not a hypochondriac. I'm not someone who's like, I've never had myself tested for gluten allergies or anything because I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But the primary symptoms of coronavirus are a dry cough and fever. And so 2 days after returning from Toronto, so being on a 6-hour flight surrounded by
goodness.
people hacking and whatever, all of a sudden, tickle in my throat. I'm like, whatever, not a big deal. Next day, fever. And like severe shivers for 10 minutes where I like couldn't control myself at all, bundled in a blanket, just shivering. And then all of a sudden I'm 300 degrees. I sweated through multiple beach towels each night because I would lay them down before I go to bed.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, this is the end. I'm dying. It's fine. But the thing is, it's just the same symptoms as any flu.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
You just got the flu.
Yeah, and they like even if I did have coronavirus, I would I'm not in a high danger group because I'm relatively young and not immunocompromised to my knowledge.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was a few days of trying to be cool while secretly panicking.
Oh no.
And then luckily, like one thing I think is unique to being in a gay male relationship is being on both sides of the man cold.
Oh.
Because like I understand and recognize how fucking pathetic men are when they get sick. Because when Peter gets a cold, I want to punch him in the mouth. I fucking hate him. I hate him so much.
I hear that will cure him.
But then when I get sick, I'm like, babe, can you get me popsicles, please? Like, I'm just such a pathetic little
Me and
asshole.
Alexi and I both go, oh,
I know,
she
I love
literally
it.
did this. Cute. I love when you have the flu. Yeah. Yeah, I know. When I get sick, I'm pathetic, and I don't even want anyone to see me.
No,
I don't want help. I want to just be like, oh,
yeah,
Netflix.
I appreciate that because when Jeff gets sick, he's so pathetic.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What does he do?
Yeah. Oh, he asks me for everything. He like lays on the couch and he's like, oh, I don't feel good.
Yeah, you know what the thing is though? I kind of lean into it now because Peter does too. Now that I'm like, I wouldn't be such a bitch if he wasn't such a bitch. But that's kind of what I'm saying.
Raise the bitch bar.
The thing is, if it's a safe place to be a pathetic baby, then just roll with it. But just reserve those instances for when you're legit sick. Don't be that way because you're hungover.
Yeah,
it doesn't fly.
Oh yeah.
By the way, that's the name of the episode. Raise the bitch bar. We try to find out the title as we do the episode. Well, that's great. Burger Queen's so good, and it was number 1 on iTunes.
Yeah, it was. That was a really exciting moment for sure.
It's so cool to see the community support you, and like lots of people were posting about it.
Yeah, that felt really nice, and it's not something you ever want to ask people to do or whatever. But when you're doing anything creative, you're always so like unsure about it, and it's a very sort of vulnerable feeling to put stuff out there and to know that you're being judged.
And people hate self-promotion.
Yeah, well, people hate. Yeah, totally. And that was the thing too. The day of or the days surrounding the actual album's release. Because like when people, a general thing I hate on Twitter is people who retweet compliments. I just think that's so fucking gross. I hate that. Yeah. But I'm like, when's the next time? Like, you never know if you're going to get to do this again or whatever. So I just thought, fuck it. These next 2 days, this is my day. Yeah. Here's the things I'm doing. Just self-promote. Who gives a shit? Yeah. It's also, it's people want to have this like punk ethos about like whatever they create, but at the end of the day you have to have some sort of promotional hustle if you want to advance. So,
you worked hard on that album.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So why be like, there's no sense in wasting any momentum you've got going by trying to seem cool or credible. So fuck it, just promote your shit.
Or like aloof to how the business works.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You worked hard on that album. You came over and we edited it, and you swept my deck.
Yeah, that's right.
What a fun time.
Well, he has the outdoor space is at a fucking premium in this city, and his was just collecting leaves. There was like an abandoned wasp nest. Fucking wasps were like, I can't live here. This is too grim, and so they fucked off. So I knocked down the remainder of that wasp nest, and I swept the outdoor area.
And he didn't make me feel bad about it. He was very kind about it.
Well, I did it while you were at the cold beer and wine store getting us drinks, I think.
That's right.
So I thought one good turn deserves another. I'll sweep the deck.
That sounds fair to me. Thank you for saving me from those wasps. My landlady is this like 55-year-old like 5-foot woman, and I had a different wasp nest up there before, and I told her about it, and then she was like, okay, and then I thought she was going to hire someone to do it, to like get rid of it. I just see this ladder go gink onto my balcony, and then I just see her climb up.
Oh no!
And she has like a caulking gun, and she just shoves it in there and just fills it up. I was like, that's what you do? And then she disappears, and I just see this broomstick just come and like smash it.
Oh.
Yeah.
She also does this thing where if there's a puddle in the back parking lot, I saw her out there like sopping it up with a towel. It's like, that's not necessary. You don't have to. She's really good. Yeah, she really cares.
Wow, that must be nice, man.
Yeah. Aw, that's very sweet.
Shout out to my landlord, Erica.
Shout out Erica. Yeah. Big up Erica.
We should have thanked her in your album. I thank her. I have one line of thank yous. Thank you, Erica. Have you ever had an experience with a ghost?
No, you know what? I haven't. Like I feel about ghosts the same way I feel about God. Like they could be real, but I've never seen any proof of it. My mother is super superstitious and like has all of these weird stories about shit that happened with Ouija boards and blah blah blah.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny. Like if I my sister was on the phone with her and mentioned casually that, I think my cat sees a ghost, like was just kidding. And then within an hour, my mom emailed her like, here's what you need to do. You need a bag of kosher salt. Then you're going to get blah, blah. She has all of these instructions for how to like rid your house of a poltergeist. Cause she's like, she's big into that stuff. But I think ghosts could exist, but I've never had an experience of my own.
Yeah.
And I'm from Victoria, which is haunted as fuck.
That's apparently. What I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a very pragmatic way of answering that. I like that.
Well,
because it's funny. I had Steve McMath on here. He's like, "No way, fucking idiots believing in ghosts." And then it's either that or the other way, which is like, "Yup."
I feel like I feel like part of it too is like if there are ghosts out there, like you can't act scared of them, and you can't act superior to them.
I want to be haunted.
Just be reverent and reverential and nice.
I could use a friend at home. I live by myself.
Oh, buddy.
I said that about wanting to be haunted when Ola Dada was on here. He's like, no, don't say that. He got scared for me.
Oh, what a sweet soul.
I know, he is. He's very worried for me.
Oh, buddy.
He feels like I haunted myself, like I cursed myself there.
You're scared.
Excuse me.
What was that?
Nothing. Just coughing.
Okay. Maybe you do have it.
Yeah, my lungs are haunted.
And now we have it too.
Sorry, Jonathan. Jonathan's obsessed with it.
Yeah.
The guy that owns the label.
Okay, note to self.
Yeah, he thinks everyone has it. Everyone's a suspect.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thank you, Steve.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. So Burger Queen, listen to it, check it out, purchase it, stream it.
Yes, please.
It's out now. It has the sexiest artwork I've ever seen in my life.
It's pretty darn great. Yep.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to see upcoming tour dates, my website is now up, steevletts.com, SteevLetts.com.
Perfect. All right.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Comedy Here Often podcast. I've been your host, Kevvy. Thank you to Steev Letts for coming on. Make sure to check out his album, Burger Queen. Make sure to follow him on social media. Make sure to follow us on social media at Comedy Here Often on all platforms. And make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. We'll see you next week.